He's not Batman. He's not a savior. He's a fractured soul wearing white to warn the guilty he's coming. Moon Knight, from the dead, explores a man haunted by gods, ghosts, and himself. This is the story of Mark Spector, or what's left of him. He walks the streets of New York at night. A white suit. A white mask. No cape. No bat signal. Just silence. They call him Mr. Knight. He doesn't knock, he enters crime scenes, speaks to the dead, and leaves behind broken jaws. But Mr. Knight is only one part of the puzzle. Beneath the sharp-dressed vigilante is Mark Spector, former mercenary, former Marine, former man. He died once in Egypt, under a broken moon, and was reborn by a god named Khonshu. Or so he believes. Now, he serves the night, not for justice, but for atonement. He doesn't blend into the dark, he dresses in white so they see him coming. Because fear isn't in the shadows, it walks straight toward you. Khonshu speaks. Or maybe he doesn't. Sometimes it's a whisper in the alley. Sometimes a scream inside Mark's skull. The god of vengeance has 4 faces, the traveler, the pathfinder, the embracer, and the one who eats hearts. All of them speak at once. Mark doesn't know if Khonshu saved him or broke him. But he listens. He always listens. Because in the silence, in the blood, in the cracks of his fractured mind, he finds purpose. He obeys the voice, not because he trusts it, but because it's the only thing keeping him from collapsing into chaos. In a city full of noise, Khonshu is the only sound that cuts through. A serial killer leaves victims sealed inside walls. The NYPD can't find a pattern. But Mr. Knight does. He follows the echoes, walks corridors no sane man dares. He doesn't ask permission. He doesn't explain. He finds the killer in a tunnel, surrounded by the bodies of his past. No grand fight. Just pain. The mask doesn't blink. The fists don't stop. When it ends, Mr. Knight stands in blood-soaked white, the killer begging for mercy. There is no mercy in his creed. Only balance. Later, the cops complain about his methods. But they don't deny the results. In a world of red tape and caution, Moon Knight is the knife in the dark, cutting through lies with surgical clarity. Mark Spector is more than a man, he's a mirror broken into 4 shards. Mark the soldier. Stephen Grant the millionaire. Jake Lockley the cabbie. Mr. Knight the tactician. Each one speaks. Each one believes they're the real identity. The world calls it dissociative identity disorder. He calls it survival. His mind is a battleground. His face is never his own. And yet, somehow, these masks form a whole more terrifying than the sum of its parts. In the moments between silence, when the moon is high and the city breathes, Mark wonders if any of these lives are real, or if he died in the sand long ago and never left the tomb. He doesn't sleep. He watches. A man plagued by insomnia and hallucinations becomes the guardian of dreams. He takes down a gang terrorizing a sleeping neighborhood, with brutal precision. No backup. No hesitation. Just vengeance in a white suit. As he beats them, he doesn't hear screams, he hears applause. The gods smile tonight. Or maybe they weep. Back home, he stares into the mirror. It doesn't reflect him. It reflects Khonshu. Or the version he fears most, a god wearing his face. Moon Knight isn't saving the city. He's bleeding into it. And someday, he'll be all that's left. Mark finds himself in a dream that isn't his. A building where each floor is a memory. He rides the elevator, and with each stop, a different version of himself steps in. One floor is a battlefield. One is a mansion. One is a yellow cab. All of them are real. All of them are lies. Khonshu waits at the top, wearing the bones of a bird and speaking in riddles. Are you my fist, or my failure? Mark doesn't know. He fights a version of himself, and loses. Wakes up screaming. But he remembers one thing, no matter who he is, he's still standing. Still fighting. And that terrifies the darkness. A cult rises in the underbelly of the city, worshipping a false god of vengeance. They wear white masks, mimic his moves, chant Khonshu's name. But they don't bring justice, they bring chaos. Mark confronts them. Not as a messiah, as a warning. You don't follow Khonshu, he says. You insult him. The fight is brutal. One against dozens. But Moon Knight doesn't flinch. He doesn't fight for applause or belief. He fights to remind himself that he still can. When the last mask falls, he leaves them alive, barely. The city learns that night, there is only one Moon Knight. And he answers to no man's faith but his own. In a psychiatric hospital, Mark finds a room with no doors, no windows, only white. He calls it peace. Or prison. Here, his voices grow quiet. The doctors say he's improving. He knows better. The silence means Khonshu is watching. Waiting. Testing. When they try to medicate him, he smiles. The real pill, he says, is the moon. That night, he escapes. Not through force, but through mind games. He turns the hospital into a maze of mirrors. The orderlies chase ghosts. And when he walks out into the night, he doesn't laugh. He mourns. Because the white room wasn't his prison. It was his sanctuary. And he just broke it. Moon Knight faces a mercenary with super strength, high-tech armor, and an army. He brings nothing but a baton and a promise, tonight, I don't lose. The fight is savage. Bones snap. Blood flies. The mercenary calls him insane. Moon Knight grins, teeth red. I'm not crazy. I'm chosen. In the final blow, he disables the armor, not with strength, but precision. The enemy falls. Mark doesn't celebrate. He walks away limping, whispering a prayer to Khonshu. He's not proud. He's not angry. He's empty. Because every victory costs him a piece of what's left inside. And he's running out of pieces. He died once in the desert. His heart stopped. Khonshu offered a deal. Ever since, Mark Spector has been walking death backwards. He is vengeance. He is protection. He is madness. People call him broken. And maybe he is. But every night, he chooses to rise. To put on white and walk into the dark. Not to be worshipped. Not to be feared. But because someone must. Moon Knight doesn't save the world. He doesn't inspire hope. He keeps the monsters awake at night. Because as long as he's broken, they can't break anyone else. And that's another page in the Heroic Chronicles. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe for more untold tales from the world of comics. There's always another hero, another villain, and another turning point waiting in the shadows. See you in the next chapter.